Okay, imagine this. You open up TikTok, right? And you see, well, nothing that really feels like you.
Hmm.
No niche memes, none of those oddly specific astrology rants that, somehow just get you.
Yeah, just noise, generic stuff. That
Exactly, just noise. And that unsettling future, that's actually what some users are kind of bracing for right now.
because the TikTok we all know, the one that feels like it's practically reading your mind,
Right.
it might be facing this really radical change.
It really felt like a digital earthquake when the headline dropped.
Oh, absolutely, a shockwave. For so many users, it was described as like
Yeah.
an emotional gut punch.
A gut punch, yeah. That ByteDance, TikTok's parent company, is apparently planning a totally separate TikTok app just for US users.
And it's crucial to understand when we say separate.
Yeah, this isn't just a redesign.
No, not a new filter or, some regional setting.
It's a whole new app.
A whole new app from the ground up, potentially.
And that's what we're doing our deep dive into today. We want to unpack what's really driving this massive shift.
Yeah, what makes the current TikTok so sticky, so unique in the first place?
Exactly. And what could this all mean for the platform, for its users? I mean, millions of them.
And maybe the whole digital landscape, really.
So the background here, the catalyst, it goes back to that law passed in April.
Right, the one that basically gave ByteDance this ultimatum.
An ultimatum, yeah. Yeah. Either sell TikTok to a US buyer.
Or face a complete ban in the States. The deadline being January 2026.
And it's not just about user data, though that's a big part of it. Lawmakers also voiced concerns about potential influence operations.
State-sponsored influence, content manipulation, maybe even censorship. It's this really complex tangle, isn't it? Data sovereignty versus like a global internet idea.
Definitely complex. So ByteDance's response. Instead of selling what's arguably their, digital crown jewel.
They're trying something, well, wild. Ambitious, maybe?
Yeah, ambitious is one word for it. They're talking about rebuilding the app from scratch. For America.
And here's the absolute kicker.
The kicker, right. They're doing it without the core code, the code that powers the global version we all know.
So it's not just a facelift. It implies a completely different um, brain behind the screen.
A different brain. Probably trained on totally different data, too.
And that brain, as you called it, that's really what this whole thing pivots on, isn't it? The algorithm.
The algorithm.
The reason TikTok just exploded, culturally speaking, it wasn't just that it was accurate. It was this democratization of virality.
Democratization of virality. Explain that a bit more.
Well, unlike other platforms, where having lots of followers already helps you.
Right. The rich get richer, sort of.
Kind of. TikTok's algorithm, at least the original one, seemed to prioritize the content itself. Quality, novelty.
Ah, okay. So it wasn't just about who posted it.
Exactly. That's how small, totally unknown creators could suddenly go massively viral overnight.
Which was way harder on Instagram or YouTube back then.
Incredibly difficult. So if this new US app can't legally use that globally trained algorithm,
Trained on, billions of data points from everywhere.
then the big question becomes, what is TikTok without that core discovery engine? What's left?
It's such an unnerving thought because that current algorithm, it's just eerily good.
Yeah, it really is.
I remember when I first got on TikTok, I was totally convinced my phone was listening to me.
Uh-huh. Yeah, a lot of people felt that.
It started showing me videos about these obscure hobbies I had, thought about once.
It taps into things you didn't even know you were interested in yet.
Yes, it feels so prescient about your interests, even your mood sometimes. It learns what makes you stop scrolling, what makes you watch the whole thing.
What sends you down those rabbit holes of content you never searched for, but suddenly you feel like you absolutely needed to see it.
Exactly. And that connection, that deep feeling of being seen.
That's fundamental. It's not just watching videos, it's how the content finds you, not the other way around.
Totally. And we're already seeing creators getting nervous, right?
Oh, yeah. They're warning that if this new US version doesn't give them the same kind of reach, well, it's basically over for them on the platform.
Their whole ability to grow, to maybe even make money.
It's directly tied to that recommendation engine, that powerful, almost magical algorithm.
So we mentioned the April law was the trigger. But given how vital this algorithm is there a risk ByteDance is just creating, a zombie app?
A zombie app?
Right.
Yeah, one that just shuffles along but nobody really uses. It's a real possibility.
Essentially banning themselves, in a way.
Could be. I mean, ByteDance denies all the national security claims, obviously, but they've been stuck in this limbo since the bill passed.
So this separate US app, Maybe it's their attempt at a legal workaround,
A maneuver, yeah. A way to say, look, we're complying, technically.
while still holding on to the platform itself.
Right. But the irony, the deep irony, is that to be compliant, they might have to rip out the very heart of what made TikTok, well, TikTok.
The thing that made it revolutionary.
And what's so fascinating is how this split forces this huge experiment. Can you still have that democratized virality if the engine finding the content is starting basically from scratch?
Yeah, it's not just about legal compliance anymore.
No, it feels like a strategic gamble, a high-stakes poker move.
What's the bet they're making?
ByteDance seems to be betting that keeping even a shadow of the TikTok brand and user base in the US, even with a stripped-down app.
Is better than just selling it off completely.
Exactly. Better than handing over their crown jewel tech to what would likely be a major competitor.
And thinking about the creators, the influencers, for them, this isn't just about the vibe changing.
Oh no, it's potentially their livelihood on the line.
That current algorithm, it's like free promotion, isn't it?
Essentially, yes. Small creators hitting the jackpot daily. That's how TikTok managed to outmaneuver giants like Instagram and YouTube initially.
Turning ordinary people into digital stars almost overnight.
If that recommendation engine goes,
Yeah.
poof, that whole golden pipeline could just dry up.
And we're seeing the reaction, right? Creators making backup accounts elsewhere.
Definitely. You see them pushing YouTube Shorts, Instagram Reels,
Yeah.
even trying out newer platforms like Clapper or Lemonade, hedging their bets.
Some are even like openly pleading online for TikTok to please keep the code.
But ByteDance, they've been pretty quiet on the specifics, haven't they?
Radio silence mostly, which leaves everyone just wondering.
Wondering, yeah. If the creators are already looking for exits, what could this new US TikTok even look like without its magic?
The sources we looked at suggest maybe slower, more generic.
Potentially looking, well, eerily similar to every other video app trying to copy TikTok.
Your feed could just reset. Imagine that.
Yeah, no more perfectly tailored weird edits, no more like multi-part sagas about suburban mom drama at PTA meetings.
Uh-huh, right. Those oddly specific niches it finds for you.
Gone, replaced by, who knows?
The reactions online have been pretty blunt.
I bet. What are people saying?
Well, one person wrote, TikTok without the algorithm is just Vine with a trust fund.
Ouch.
Another said, this is like Instagram Reels' evil twin, no thanks.
Harsh.
And then there was this one. If I start seeing out-of-touch dance moms on my FYP, that's the For You page, obviously, I'm deleting the app immediately.
Wow. So it's clear, users aren't just worried about, like, the features changing.
No, they seem terrified of losing that uncanny feeling of being understood, seen.
That core connection. And you have to wonder, this isn't just the TikTok problem, is it?
What do you mean?
Well, if the U.S. government can effectively force a company like ByteDance to divest or create this separate localized version.
What precedent does that set?
Exactly. For other global platforms, WeChat, maybe, or even future AI services that operate across borders.
It feels a bit like the internet is refragmenting. After all these years of global platforms connecting everyone.
A digital balkanization? Maybe. It's a possibility.
And if you connect that fragmentation back to TikTok.
It suggests that maybe that niche culture, the stuff TikTok did so brilliantly, it could just vanish. And with it, maybe the soul of the app itself.
That's a pretty bleak outlook.
It is, but what if there's another side? What if this huge shakeup actually forces new kinds of creativity?
How so?
Maybe US-only TikTok, starting fresh, could actually spawn totally new communities, new creators, new voices.
Thriving in a different way, without the baggage of the global algorithm's expectations.
Perhaps. It's possible.
Unburdened, yeah.
Or perhaps it just dies trying, fades away.
And that really is the core question, isn't it? Can TikTok still be TikTok without that amazing recommendation system?
Without the thing that makes users feel so uniquely known.
Yeah.
Yeah.
This isn't just about a software update. It goes to the very essence of what made TikTok feel revolutionary.
So as you're listening to this, maybe think about those two paths.
Right. On one hand, maybe this forced change sparks something unexpected. New creativity, new communities, voices we haven't heard yet.
Things we can't even imagine right now.
Or the other path, the fear that this marks, the slow death of the app that really defined a generation, for better or worse.
It's a stark choice. And maybe the final thought is this. In its effort to survive, TikTok might lose the one thing it was never supposed to give up.
The algorithm that made us feel known.
Exactly. And what could that shift, that potential loss, mean for how all of us discover content, how we connect online in the future?
Definitely something